What's up? Yeah, I'm not doing this with the camera right now because I feel like, we might get distracted or something. And I don't want to, kind of get too distracted and leave off camera. But if you do hear me leave or do something, it's because I did that. But I wanted to come on here, and as the video basically says, this is a special Topics on My Mind edition. This is basically a special edition of Topics on My Mind for today, February 21st, 2019. I am, of course, off today. I do go back to work tomorrow, but I have an unusual schedule tomorrow, just to get that out of the way for a second. I know a lot of us that are fans of MLP because, that's what this special edition is a special edition talking about everything MLP topic-wise. But I do know that a lot of us have jobs. A lot of us have any kind of job out there. And sometimes our jobs have unusual hours, especially when they're trying to readjust and try to, straighten things out, get things set. Well, tomorrow, it's not the first time. It's not the first time, but basically tomorrow I'm going to be working 4.5 hours. But the way they got it set up is usually 4.5 hours. I only get a break and that's it. Here, I'm going to get a break, a lunch, and then possibly another break, which is kind of weird. The break, I'll probably only get one break, but basically the way it's scheduled is 8:30 clock in, 10:45 lunch to 11:45, then come back and then work till 2 o'clock. So, yeah. That's basically the way they got it worked out for me right now. But anyway, that's what's going on, and that's why, of course, I'm off today. They like to give us an extra day or so off, I guess. I don't really know. But anyway, I want to get to this special live edition. Like I said, it's not without the camera. I mean, I could turn the camera back on if I wanted to, but sometimes it just feels a little bit more comfortable to be able to just sit back and just let your voice do the talking. I don't think people mind either way, but when you take a look at things like the semi perfect podcast and other podcasts out there as well, sometimes they just do audio. Like Solomonster Sounds Off just does audio, but occasionally we'll do on camera, stuff like that. So anyway, I wanted to come on here, and like I said, this is a special My Little Pony Friendship is Magic edition of Topics on My Mind for today, February 21st. And the topics I want to talk about are related, of course, to Friendship is Magic, Equestria Girls, and yes, we will even talk about Generation 5 and the 2021 movie. So, without further ado, let's talk about let's talk about Friendship is Magic. Of course, as I've discussed here already, and I'm sure a lot of you have talked about, basically, it was announced at the toy fair. That the New York Toy Fair, that is, that recently happened this past weekend, that oops, hit the wrong thing there. Hold on. That My Little Pony Friendship is Magic will be indeed entering its last season. It will be entering its last season, and I just wanted to put this. I was just trying to get a tweet to put on to Aramount, fiery Aramount, Josh Scorcher's fiance's Twitter. And Aramount, if you are sick, I hope you do feel better later on. I hope you really do feel better. Anyway, like I said, basically, getting back on topic here, we did hear at the New York Toy Fair that Hasbro has announced that Friendship is Magic is entering its last season. Now, as I've talked about in a video called The Four Big Reveals, Jim Miller basically said in a tweet that there's going to be a lot of stuff going down. There's going to be returning characters, new characters, guest star voice actors and actresses. Episode 200, of course, big revelations and a grand conclusion. What any of that really means in the long run is kind of up in the air, but if I was to take a stab at it, folks, and hold on for 1 sec, I'll go check something. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Just had to see what my dog wanted. Obviously, she didn't. She was hearing something or whatever. But yeah, like I said, Jim Miller basically revealed all that. Like there's going to be, of course, episode 200. There's going to be big revelations, returning characters, new characters, guest star voice actors and actresses, and of course, big revelations, and of course, a grand conclusion. And I said in the video that, and I stick by these honestly. I said in the video that basically, I think that and I'm trying to adjust my mic here, so I do apologize. But I basically said that the four things I think they have to do is, one, they have to address the whole Spike rarity deal, the Sparity deal or situation, because that's been going on since the beginning. And with season 8 bringing it back to the forefront the way it did, with it being acknowledged in Breakup Breakdown, Meltdown having kind of being focused around it with both Rarity and Spike going through the different situations, almost if not exactly simultaneously. And then, of course, you had like the little moments here and there, Easter eggs, nods in the finale, like, Rarity being the one that kind of helped Spike get the letter from Celestia out of his system. So, yeah, a lot of that. So yeah, a lot of that, was brought to the forefront. And then, of course, you had Best Gift Ever, and the way it ended there, the way it's ending happened there with Spike. So, honestly, they definitely, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, they need to address this. And I'm thinking and I'm hoping at least they will address that there is something there now between them besides just friendship. Like there's something there that's beyond friendship. But that's about it. Basically kind of give the acknowledgement that they are now more than just friends, but not in a way that it's like shoved down your throat. You know what I'm saying? Um. Anyway. Well, like I said, anyway, those are just some of the other thing that I talked about. In fact, two of them involve Applejack, or could be related, or basically are connected to Applejack, and that is Big Mac and Sugar Bell. I think it should be revealed or acknowledged that there is something that basically they're going to be engaged, or they've gotten engaged and they plan to get married, and that part of that plan is to have Big Mac consider moving to uh, Sugar Bell's village to kind of start up a farm there, a farm business there, kind of extend the Apple family branch to that village, so they don't have to keep waiting for someone to come into the town with a delivery or anything like that. Um, so that's one thing I'm hoping they address. The other one is about her parents, because we need to, at least find out once and for all, exactly what happened. Are they still alive? Are they being held prisoner, maybe by our main season 9 antagonists? Did they suffer the fate that was, touched upon and discussed in the season 7 episode Health of Information? We need an answer, because like I said in the video, the one example I could take from people watching the episode and then seeing how it ended is the scene that Lily Pete used at the end of their video, and that was a scene from, I think, Avatar, where one of the characters was looking at a scroll going like, that can't be the end, that can't be it, or something like that. So yeah, basically they need to address what really happened. They need to at least stop the hinting. I mean, yeah, we kind of get the idea that, and I'm just moving my pop filter there. They need to stop hinting or kind of teasing or hinting at the fact that, yeah, they did pass, but if that's the case, how did it happen? I think people need to have an answer to that. At least they need to have one little answer to that. So, hopefully we'll get an answer in season 9. The other one, of course, is what every fan has been waiting for a while, and that is the origin of Celestial and Luna. It's like, how did they become alicorns? Were they naturally born? Did they go through the same thing that Twilight and Cadence did, and then they would just pass, and the knowledge of how to help those ponies evolve was passed down to them? Or those unicorns or Pegasus to evolve to that next level was just passed down to them? We need some kind of, verification, like some kind of answer to how Celestial and Luna came to be. And this is the last, and if this is the last season, they should address this. They should address it in a way. And one thing I didn't add on when I talked about that is one of the things that was hinted about with the season 9 antagonist right now is penciled, I believe, to be Grogar, another G1 character, is that the ponies that defeated Grogar were led by a unicorn or a Pegasus called Gusty, and they were unicorns or something like the unicorn or Pegasus warriors, and they kind of didn't stop him, but they slowed Grogar down. So in a way, I think that's what fans. So in a way, I think it would be really unique if they are unicorn warriors instead of Pegasus warriors. It makes me wonder if maybe Celestial and Luna were part of that, and they have yet to reveal the fact that they were part of that. It would be it would be unique. It would be a twist to know that Celestial and Luna were part of that at one point, but they didn't. They didn't plan to tell Twilight or any of them until the time was right, or when they felt it was necessary. So I don't know. I don't know. So um, but anyway, yeah, basically fan. But yeah, basically, um, but what am I? What was it? Oh yeah, basically, they just need. These are four things I think they need to address. Hopefully, in season 9. That's all I really. That's what I really hope for. These are four things I hope they address and touch upon, because you can't just end the series and end these on cliffhangers. You can't. You can't really do that, because this this fan base this fan base has been part of, has supported uh has supported this the show for so long, that I think it's only fair that you give them a proper ending, and you give them something that they will be thankful for. And I think these kind of revelations are just the tip of the iceberg, in my opinion, of what they need to do. I really do. I think these are just, this is just like the tip of the iceberg. I mean, not tip of the iceberg, but this is just something I think they need to take care, to address and take care of before the show ends. I really do. Anyway, anyway, that's not all that I wanted to talk about. The other thing I want to talk about here is, of course, episode 200, which, by a logical standpoint, if I look it up here, for a moment, if I look it up here for a moment, and that's my dog. She just wants me to get her a snack or something like that. I'll get her something in a moment. But if I look it up right now, episode right now, we would be 5 weeks in. We would be 5 weeks in. Um, it would be five. We would be 5 weeks in, and basically that's when episode 200 would happen. So, depending on when the series debuts in April, which right now April is the targeted month as far as we know, whether it's the 6th or the 13th. If it's the 6th, if it premieres on April 6th, you could be looking at 2 episodes on that day, which would be episodes 196 and 197. 198 would be on the 13th. 199 would be on the 20th, and then episode 200 would be on the last Saturday in April. Now, if that doesn't happen that way, and they premiere, let's say, on April 13th, then the 200th episode premieres on May 4th. Now, if they, let's say, premiere it on April 20th, the 9th season, then May 11th would basically be the time frame. So between April 27th and May 11th, I'm projecting is when you'd get episode 200. But the question is, what will it be about? The last time they did an anniversary episode, which was episode 100. It was called Slice of Life, and it was basically a thank you letter to the fans. That's what it was. It was a thank you letter to the fans. And a lot of people appreciated that. A lot of people really appreciated that episode because it focused mainly on a lot of fan favorite background, if not minor characters that don't, well, not minor characters, but secondary characters, if not semi-important characters that don't get enough screen time. They don't get enough screen time to really showcase what they can do. I mean, this episode focused on the relationship between Lyra and Bonbon. It focused on Derpy and her friendship with the Doctor Hooves. It focused on Octavia and Vinyl Scratch. It focused, of course, on the wedding of Cranky Doodle and Matilda Donkey. So, it really was very pandering. And yes, the main six was in there towards the end. They did get a line or so in the end, but it was mostly Slice of Life was a thank you letter to the fans. It was a thank you letter to the fans. So the question is now, what will episode 200 be like? Well, in recent seasons, we have seen episodes to where even with the main six involved, these have been episodes targeted at the fans, sometimes positive, sometimes negative. Two episodes, for an example, are Fame and Misfortune, which was in the 7th season, and that was written by M.A. Larson, but not showcased the way he originally intended it to be when he wrote it. And then a few weeks later, you had Once Upon a Zeppelin, which was sort of another episode targeted towards the fans. And these were kind of like negative, kind of like fan oriented or related episodes because of the fact that even though Slice of Life was a thank you, Fame and Misfortune and somewhat Once Upon a Zeppelin were more like, yeah, this is what you guys are like. You need to take a step back. Like Fame and Misfortune, in the eyes of a lot of fans, was a slap in the face to them because it's basically the creators being like, look, we appreciate your support. We appreciate your fans of the show. But you got to remember, this is a show originally meant for younger kids. And these younger kids don't really care about continuity or character development, dot, 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 dot. They just care about what's in front of them. And that's it. So, but again, you got to wonder what episode 200 would be like. Is it going to be a hybrid of both what Slice of Life and Fame and Misfortune were? Is it going to be something completely different? Like is it going to be, like I said, is it going to be something completely different? Is it going to be something that, fans aren't expecting but are going to appreciate? We don't know. It's going to be a big. All I know is a lot of people are looking at this, and a lot of people have said that when it comes to episodes like, or not episodes, but shows like My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, shows that are based on toy lines, like a Hasbro toy line, it's very rare that they reach this kind of a feat. Not even G1 Transformers reach this feat. Not even G1 My Little Ponies reach this feat. And not even did G1, Hasbro version G1 of G.I. Joe, reach this feat. But now, here we are, within a couple of months away from basically episode 200 occurring. And like I said, projection-wise, it could debut on the 27th of April, and it could debut on May 11th, for all we know. For all we know, it could end up premiering at any one of those dates. So, like I said, it could end up premiering on any one of those dates at any one of those times. Now, the question is, is it just going to be 30 minutes, or are they going to present it as a special 1 hour length episode because it's such a big deal, because it's a monumental number for an episode, especially something based, like I said, on a toy line? We don't know. That's totally up to what Hasbro and Allspark Animation, and the people, and mostly the creative team behind the show have in mind. But it would be nice to probably get a 1 hour kind of deal, 44-minute kind of like 200th episode, because you could do so much with it, and really by using that time right, or that time correctly, you can end up being able to address and focus on so many things out there. You could really end up doing that. So again, is it going to be 200 episodes? We don't know, but it'd be nice if it was. It'd be really nice if it. What was it? Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I was just thinking. My mind just got scatterbrained there. But again, will 200th episode be an hour long? Yeah, hopefully it is. Again, it opens the door for a lot more things to take place and be addressed to, and all that. Here's what I'm hoping. I'm sure a lot of fans are hoping this as well. That in episode 200 we get an Alicorn, even in the background appearance of the Alicorn OC based on Lauren Faust. And if we get something like that, that's not only thanking the fans by giving us that OC in the background, but it's thanking Lauren Faust for everything she contributed to the show. And I think that's another thing too. I think the creators, and maybe they've already done it, they need to put all the Pony OC character, all the Pony OC versions of themselves and past contributors, creators, writers, staff in the background for whatever moments occur in the 200th episode as a bit of a thank you to them as well for taking part in this in the show. But again, it's kind of like totally up in the air of exactly what they plan to do. But I'm really hoping that whatever they got set in stone or set in mind, it's going to be worthwhile. Now, the other thing that he brings up, that Jim Miller brought up when it came to Friendship to season 9, is we would have returning characters. And there have been some characters fans have been wanting to see come back. I know that Firebrand, a.k.a. Josh Scorcher, Aramound's fiance, has been wanting Cheese Sandwich, who was voiced by Weird Al Yankovic a couple seasons ago, to make a comeback. And something tells me this could be the season he does it. I'm pretty sure because when they also talk about guest stars, there's no doubt they probably have been talking to Weird Al and saying, look, we would like you to come back and voice Cheese Sandwich for a return in this episode, or in this season, since it's the last season. So I'm guessing Cheese Sandwich is probably on the radar to make a return. I would definitely hope we get Ra Countess Coloratura. We get her back, and because guest stars and everything. So I'm thinking they've talked to the voice actress for her. I'm hoping we get Rachel Bloom to come back and voice Autumn Blaze. That'd be nice to see, especially if they don't go the Rarity Spike route and instead want to finally give Spike someone else to crush on. Boom, there you go. It just opens the door for it. Just again, these are what I'm trying to say is everybody. These are characters. These three characters. Yep, I knew I got an update coming up, guys. I'm gonna do this. I had a feeling that's what was going on. But yeah, but yeah, basically, yeah. And again, like I said, I just had an update just pop up on me. I don't want to update and restart because that'll hurt my computer. Um, well, that's what they say anyway. But anyway, like I said, uh, basically, basically, what was I getting at? Oh yeah, basically, these are characters fans want to see. They want to see them make a comeback. They want to make what they want to see them make a return. Um, Down the line. That's what they want to see. They want to see these characters make a return, and season 9, I think, opens the door for them to do that. I really do. Um, so again, episode 200 is kind of like up in the air as to what they got planned for it, but hopefully it's going to be big. And returning character wise, I think these are three characters right off the bat fans would love to see return as well. Um, as far as what's to come for the rest of Friendship is Magic, one of the things we did learn about in this for this upcoming season is obviously during the hiatus we're going to get another 44-minute special, and I talked about this one time. In a video, I discussed the idea of the fact that Best Gift Ever was the start of something that could happen down the line, and what I talked about was the fact that with Friendship is Magic ending, they could still find a way to continue it, but they could do it by uh, they could do it basically by going the route of 44-minute specials, like their own individual condensed or contained within adventures that they're not necessarily part of a season, but they're kind of like a 0.5. Like after season 9's over, the final season's over, you could say, well, we want to continue the adventures. Here, we'll do this. And you can go like, here's season 9.5 now. That's what they can do. That's what they can do. And my opinion is I think that's probably what they're going to end up doing. I just feel that Best Gift Ever and Rainbow Road Trip are just the beginning. We're probably going to get more down the line because they know that fans love these characters and they love this environment. They love the atmosphere. They love this current generation. So I think obviously the most logical choice, is to go that route until you get ready to release G5. So anyway, that's all I can say right now for Friendship is Magic. Let's get into Equestria Girls because we do know that Spring Breakdown is coming up, I think, at the end of March or towards the end of March. And this is the one that got teased at San Diego Comic-Con. And to me, this serves, and I even mentioned this before, serves somewhat like a sequel to My Little Pony the movie, the 2017 film. And the reason I bring that up, and I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, well, why would you say that? It's like I said before, and you can even look this up on Google, that back in the 1980s, when Transformers Generation 1 ended season 3 by bringing back Optimus Prime after he was killed off in the movie. When they released the special by itself onto DVD, or not DVD, but onto VHS. On the back of it, right at the very bottom, they called it the sequel to Transformers the movie. So my opinion is, since they basically said the new movie coming out is not going to be a sequel, we don't know what it's going to be. My opinion is they're probably going to look at Spring Breakdown for Equestria Girls as being that sequel. That's what I think is going to happen. That's what I think is going to occur. Is you're going to is you're going to basically what was it? Oh yeah. That you're that basically this is what that basically it makes, what I'm trying to say is it makes sense. I'm just looking at something here, folks, on Google, because like I said, my Windows 10 decides to do an update again. I don't know what it is for this time, but anyway, like I was saying, basically, since like I mentioned, they're saying the new movie coming out is not going to serve as a sequel. This to them is probably going to be that sequel. So don't be surprised if maybe they kind of put in the synopsis on the back of the DVD release down the line that maybe they kind of put in the synopsis somewhere that it serves somewhat as a sequel to the 2017 My Little Pony film. Because if you got Storm King involved somehow, some way, or what he's done involved, then yeah, it's serving somewhat of a sequel as a sequel. So that's kind of cool to see. That's kind of, I guess you could say it's kind of cool that in a way you're kind of getting a sequel, but it's not a Friendship is Magic sequel. It's a sequel courtesy of Equestria Girls. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do there. But yeah, and this is not the last 44-minute special. Obviously, they got something else planned down the line. Whatever they have planned, if they're adapting another story, some people are speculating that could be the story where Sunset meets her actual human counterpart. So, be interesting to see what they do there. As far as what they got planned later on, because apparently they still want to do these going into G5. I don't think they're going to be doing them up to G5. That's my opinion. I think they're going to have them out as long as they can, and I think by the time G5 officially happens, that's when they're going to finally wrap things up, and they're going to bring Equestria Girls to an end so it could coincide with Friendship is Magic. And then they'll probably start something different to coincide with G5. Speaking of Generation 5, Generation 5, like I said, speaking of Generation 5, the biggest question, well, not the biggest, but one of the questions a lot of fans are asking is where is Generation 5 going to air? When Generation 5 was rumored to be happening or announced to be happening, the one place that got talked about the most was Cartoon Network. Now, if Cartoon Network is the destination for Generation 5, it may not be probably the best idea. Because unless there's some drastic change that comes over Discovery Family within the next year or so, what's made people come come towards Discover, I should say Discovery Family, is the fact that they have shows like My Little Pony, Friendship, My Little Pony, on the lineup. They have Friendship is Magic. They have Equestria Girls. Sorry about that. But it's basically it's a show, but basically Discovery Families are more organized, kind of like you won't get lost in the shuffle kind of deal for My Little Pony to be at. And as far as possibly going to Cartoon Network, I'm not saying Cartoon Network wouldn't be a good idea, but take a look at what they've done with some of the shows they've gotten and they've created exclusively for the network. They've licensed and all that in the past. And I hate to say it, but Cartoon Network is not the very best at keeping a show in one slated time slot. They're not the best at doing that. I mean, this is why their secondary channel / streaming service, Boomerang, is becoming the home of a lot of new shows or reboots based on things. Because, yeah, you can watch the episodes and stuff on demand when you want, but they seem a little bit more organized. But I don't think fans are going to want Generation 5 when they want to give it a chance, because there will be a lot of fans that want to give it a chance. They will probably give it a chance in this current fan base, that, would rather see it on a channel they know they can watch it on without any problems. And Cartoon Network is probably one of those channels, except for the fact that, again, its reputation is it kind of takes shows and kind of shuffles them around to where you think it's on at one Pacific time, but then it comes on at another time. So yeah, it's like, they need to be more specific about what they're going to do. Like what time slot they're going to put My Little Pony if Cartoon Network gets it. Now, if it remains on Discovery Family, I think, again, that would probably be the best solution for it. Because, like I said, people are more used to it being there. And it's one of those shows that every now and then a network gets that draws people to that network. And it draws them to it to not only watch the show, but inevitably they could discover some other things, other shows that are part of that network as well. So in my opinion, as far as Generation 5 goes, I think honestly they got to go with Discovery Family as its home, as its future home as far as television is concerned. Don't go the route of, let's shop around, let's go to Cartoon Network or Disney and all that. No. Stick with the network is going to be a safe bet in the long run. And I think Discovery Family, unless things change, is the best bet to go in. I really do. And I think anybody watching and listening, or mostly listening, would agree with that. I think anybody listening would agree with that. So, yeah, as far as Generation 5 goes as well, we don't know what the subtitle of it's going to be. And, a lot of people are wondering, I know one of the things people wonder is, why are we getting new voice actors and actresses and all that? I think the reason we're getting them is because a lot of these people have other projects they're working on. And sometimes these other projects take up a lot more time. So despite the fact that they may want to come and work, they can't because of the fact that they got these other projects they got to work on, these other characters they got to voice. So, yeah, getting new voice actors may be a change. It may not be a favorable change, but I think in the long run, I look at it this way. If the new voice actresses and actors come in and to voice the characters, like the new incarnation of the main six and all that, and they kind of keep the spirit of the original personality of the characters intact some way, or in some way, some shape, somehow, I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be fine in the long run. But honestly, I think the reason a lot of these voice actors and actresses cannot are getting replaced, it's not because they're not doing a good job. It's mostly because they got a lot more on their plate. That's the one thing. Now, finally, the last thing I want to talk about is the 2021 movie. It's supposed to be CGI, but everybody doesn't know what it's going to be about. Jim, there have been some people that have said it's not going to be connected to G4. Some are saying that most likely then it's going to be connected to G5, but we don't know that. Some are saying it could serve as a bridging gap between both generations. We don't really know. It is slated to be theatrical. We know that. But is it going to take a page out of G1 and serve as the main pilot for the series that would come afterwards? Or is it going to be its own individual entity? And I talked about this before. This would not be the first time a movie based on a franchise is its own individual entity. A lot of movies based on franchises do that. My Little Pony. I mean, not My Little Pony, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Great example. Has done that. The 3 live action movies had nothing to do with the Archie comic books. They had nothing to do with the Mirage books. They had nothing to do with the current cartoon series at that time. There was no continuity connection. They were their own individual continuity, their own individual adventure. So, to me, the possibility that the My Little Pony 2021 movie could follow suit in some way, some shape, form, or fashion in that manner of being its own individual thing, it's got its positives because you don't have to worry about it being a connection to G5 or being a connection and a conclusion to G4. It's its own individual thing. It could have the same characters of Twilight, Rarity, Applejack, Fluttershy, Pinkie Pie, and Rainbow Dash, and Spike, and Celestia, and Luna, and Cadence. It could have all those characters and more, but it could be its own individual thing. And like I said before in that one video I talked about, where I talked about it, basically it opens the door for them to be a little bit more lenient on how the characters can be portrayed, how far they can go with certain characters' personalities, like what they can and cannot say, maybe maybe whether or not they could swear a word or not, stuff like that. So, that right there is a possibility in its own right. If it's a possibility in its own right, if it's its own individual movie with, that's not connected, if it's its own entity. If it is connected to G5, I would suspect that it's either going to serve as the movie pilot, like the original G1 movie did, or it might be a movie that takes place after the first season of G5, and it's still connected somehow. We don't know. But we'll have to wait and see. But my honest opinion is right now, if we don't know what it's going to be, if it's not going to serve as a sequel, if it's not to the 2017 movie, if it's not going to serve as a sequel, if it's not going to be a conclusion to G4, if it's not going to be a pilot to G5, then I think the best bet and probably the most successful bet is for it to be its own individual thing. I really do. And I think anybody watching this would agree with that. I mean, you take a look at the other Hasbro properties that have been turned into big budget movies, like G.I. Joe and Transformers, and none of them have any connection whatsoever to any of the past incarnations, comic book or cartoons or otherwise. They're their own individual entities. And I think maybe, hopefully, that's what Hasbro is going to do here with My Little Pony. But anyway, that's about it, guys, for this special Topics on My Mind edition. Topics on My Mind, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic edition for February 21st, 2019. Thank you all for listening live. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go now, and I'm going to shut down my computer and try to start it back up. Maybe let it do its update deal, see what's going on there. And that's about it, guys. So till next time, God bless. Take care. And thank you all for listening live. And I am out.